So today, we are not doing a car comparison. We are doing a
infotainment system comparison.
So the fact that we are currently in a Mercedes A250 is almost beside the point. This Mercedes system can be found in all kinds of different Mercedes models, right?
It is. It's called MBUX. You specifically are not allowed to call it MBUX.
Don't do that.
Don't do that, Mercedes.
So we mustn't say MBUX.
We mustn't say MBUX at all.
This is a review of this system, which we think is one of the best, pitted up against one of the top best systems you can get. What do we have?
We have Audi's MMI system and the Audi A7. And what's really interesting to me, at least initially, I don't know this system very well, but this seems to be a system that requires long-term adaptation, but offers great benefits. The Audi system, on the other hand, is designed to be right out of the gate very familiar. I'm not sure if it has the benefits that this system might have, but you can get to learn it right away.
Shall we get started?
Yes, Clayton, I know nothing or very little about this system, so it's up to you to inform me.
So the big part that sets this system apart for me is the redundancy built into it. See this screen here? Right now we're displaying the nav. I can mess with it with this little thumb controlled steering wheel pad right here on the wheel if I want to. I can scroll right across on the thumb thing.
That is cool.
It's very cool.
I like that.
Do you remember Blackberries? It's the same.
Oh my God, oh really?
Yeah, look at that.
Oh
see?
really?
Admittedly, it's not for everyone. It's a tiny little button. Not everyone may like
but
that.
I like the way that it scrolls back. But having to scroll up here is on most systems is a bit of a pain in the butt.
It is, but the party trick is that you can also do it down here on this touchpad here on the console. The cool thing about the touchpad is that the touchpad gives you some haptic feedback, so it kind of buzzes. Now the other thing you could do is it's also a legitimate actual touchscreen. So you have 3 modes to communicate with the screen movements.
That's not bad. I still like the button control.
The wheel control is the best in my opinion.
You know, everybody's converting some of their systems to haptic feedback, and I find it very overrated. It still feels super artificial, and I haven't gotten used to it. Just a plain ordinary physical button. It works. It
does work really well. So that's the one thing I like. The other thing I like is that all the things you access quickly are easy to find. Where's my nav? Where's my radio? Where's my phone? Where's my seats? And then if you want to go deeper into it, you scroll down, and then you can get into the more nerdy things about how you want it to look.
Sub-menus.
The other thing that it can kind of do, which is neat, is that it actually has the same mirrored touch control for the left-hand screen. It has the same controls but mirrored for this screen, which I can show what's playing, and I can show
it feels the same. So
exactly,
you could just play with your thumbs. Twiddle our thumbs.
We can twiddle our thumbs. Yes.
Twiddle our thumbs. Yes, indeed we can.
So I like the natural feeling of having a left-hand control for the left screen, right-hand control for the right screen. That's a nice touch.
That is very, very well done. I mean, this is I'm starting to warm to this system.
Oh, you're warm. Hey, Mercedes.
How can I help you?
I'm hot.
I'm setting the temperature to 19 degrees.
Really?
Yes.
You realize there's a song all about that called Uptown Funk, though, like quite a bit. Okay, but anyways.
So the big thing that they've been working on is their voice control, and it goes beyond the usual, hey, navigate me home, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Mercedes.
How can I help you?
What is the age of the Prime Minister of the country of birth of Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber was born in Canada. The Prime Minister of Canada is Justin Trudeau. The age of Justin Trudeau is 47 years and 3 months.
So if
that is so cool.
So if you ever needed that,
if you ever needed that, and specified in that very specific way, that is really freaking cool. Is the system standard?
Yes and no. So yes, with an exception or two. The first exception is that the trivia question we just asked it about Justin Bieber. It's a cloud-based system. So we ask it these weird questions, it will ping the cloud and come back with an answer.
And that requires a service fee or something like that?
So if you buy or lease a Mercedes, you get that service free for 3 years. Afterwards, you have to pay. The other caveat is, as you see it, we have dual 10-inch screens.
Yeah, I mean, now it almost looks like one giant 23-inch screen.
Now, standard is 2 7.5-inch screens. So a little bit smaller. You do pay extra for the bigger
How
screens.
much about?
I could be wrong, but the larger screens are part of a larger tech package you have to buy, which is, as I recall, quite pricey. It's down there. It's $1,000 or $2,000. So, but I think the bigger screens are worth it.
It adds. It's not a bad looking system. I mean, all the other systems either have one screen up here, a second screen here, a third screen there. This whole thing as one giant screen, and again, having your left screen on that button, your right screen on the right button. There's a certain logic to it, which isn't too bad.
It's party trick for me is that if you're driving, you can say things like, Mercedes,
How can I help you?
I'm hungry for soup.
Please select an entry.
And now it has pulled up various soup shops around Toronto. It knows what is
the soup Nazi in there?
The soup Nazi. No soup for you.
No soup for you.
So that is something I like, is that if I'm hungry or something, this car invites you to go along these whims you may have. So you might say, oh, I need to run by a bike shop. I need a new bike tire. So you can say, hey, are there bike shops around here? And it will say, yes, there are. Pretty trick. It's very convenient.
Yeah, I mean, it seems actually. I mean, it's it's basically what are those things? Alexa and
it's an Alexa for your car.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing that I suspect is finding all the power that's involved in the MBUX system and its assistant here is going to take some adapting. It's got
It's true. You could own this car for a long time before you truly mastered every nook and cranny, because it's expansive, this system. It controls so much.
Yeah.
Now, the question I'm going to ask you is, given that I've kind of given you a run through the system, what person do you think would be most happy with this system? Is this a good system for like a tech-savvy person? Is it a system for someone that just wants things to work? Who would be happiest?
I suspect it'll be the tech-savvy. It's not as hard to learn the very basics as I thought it might be. On the other hand, because it's, the switchgear is intuitive and everything else, but I suspect that getting the most out of it will indeed get a little perplexing.
So I think we could summarize by saying that this system has a lot of depth, but it might take you a little while to access that depth.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, I'm kind of excited to see what Audi has in the MMI system in the A7. Shall we go take a look?
We should go right now.
Let's do it. Mercedes?
How can I help you?
Route me to the nearest Audi.
So now we're in the Audi A7. Now, the first thing you're probably thinking is that, well, it's because it's a more upscale model compared with the little A-Class Benz. But in fact, Audi is specifying this kind of multimedia infotainment system all the way through its lineup.
So I could get this on an A5, an A4?
An A5 for sure. I mean, I suspect the lower you go down the echelon of their product portfolio, you might not get quite as many screens. And the first thing you notice that's different about this is, as opposed to the Mercedes, was one giant screen across here.
One big screen, yeah.
One big screen. This
many screens.
A number of giant pods. Of giant pods. The other thing, and we'll take off here, is that the really interesting thing to me about this is that even though it appears to be super high-tech, like it's all touchscreens, there's many fewer buttons in this car than there is in the
Hardly any buttons.
Mercedes with the MBUX. But once you start looking very closely, all they've actually done is taken all of the buttonry and absolutely to the T duplicate it in touchscreen. Look at this row of buttons here.
Oh, wow.
Well, they're not buttons, they're touchscreen apps or whatever you want to call them. And they are exactly the duplicate of what would have been in the A7 back when there was the switches, and pretty much the same as that row of silver switchgear that's in the Mercedes, So it's actually quite easily adapted to for older people, and people that are more traditional.
Octogenarians such as yourself?
Such as myself. The point is it looks really high tech, and it looks like, oh my God, how with it am I? But it requires absolutely no learning. unlike the other one, which has a whole bunch of delineated functions, you have redundancies. Like I have the navigation system right here, I have it over here, and sometimes you can configure it so it's just a little corner in the dashboard, but it's big here.
This is virtual cockpit, right?
Yeah, it's virtual cockpit. But the virtual cockpit used to be this portion and this portion. Now they've taken all these controls down here for various minor functions, like the air conditioning system, and the seats are now, you know, instead of a button, they're another touch thing. Every button has been replaced by its almost exact equivalent, as I said before.
So it's nothing revolutionary. They've just touchpadified the buttons.
Yeah, and for people who want to look high tech and feel high tech, but not have to learn anything new, this is the most comforting system I've tried. There's no question about it.
Does it do something that most systems can't do?
Well, in fact, and we'll have to stop up here to do it, get me to navigation system, young man.
Am I the voice-activated nav in this car?
No. I gotta stop and pull over because that's the law. Enter address. Now here's where it's interesting. They used to have some terrible little pad here where you could scroll with your finger, and it was diabolical. Never freaking worked. Now it's this whole lower screen. Yeah, please try.
Let's go to the office. Wow.
6.
Yeah.
5.
Now, you choose that.
Okay.
Put the street in.
BLO.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's the promise of some of that haptic stuff you mentioned, and some of the touchscreen that we've been promising for a long time delivered. Because this kind of being able to write on a touchscreen in some little pad form or not, it's been around for 3, 4, maybe even 5 years on a few cars. But it's the first time it's worked, and so it's still following the same pattern. It's a familiar technology, not quite as familiar as buttons, but it's something that now works better.
Yeah.
And so from that point of view, again, it all fits into this motif that there's nothing revolutionary here. It does do voice commands, you know, and it probably does volume.
Can it tell you how old Justin Trudeau is?
No, it cannot. I tried that. It didn't work. This is very much basic functional voice control. It is not, you know, cloud
Tell
Siri.
me what a caribou is.
No, can the Mercedes really know what does it say a caribou is?
It says it is an Arctic deer species with large antlers.
Jesus Christ!
Not only that, it'll tell you where they migrate to. It's kind of ridiculous.
But this one here, I really am impressed with how easy. Like, you can get in, and better than any car that I've ever been with a fairly high-tech system, within 15 minutes, you're completely comfortable with this car.
I like that it has an actual volume knob too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's smart.
Now, the one thing I like about the system over at the Mercedes is that I like that everything has a home. Your climate and seat settings are always here. They're not going to move around, whereas the Mercedes, by nature of having one big screen, you kind of have to whisk things up and minimize them as you go about your business, whereas this is kind of nice to have a home base, you know? I like that everything has a location that you can get used to it being in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm very impressed with the Mercedes. I think it's a delineation of what you want.
Yeah.
Like I said to you, in fact, the whole reason for having this test was because they're so different in terms of their philosophy. This one is, as I said, you're 62 years old, you don't want to learn anything new, you want to...
Nothing? What?
You go, f*** off. For the record, 61 and a half.
So, what can we conclude about these two systems?
Well, the first thing we conclude is this one's more easily learned. The MBUX,
correct,
not MBUX.
We can't say MBUX.
Can't say MBUX. System is definitely more powerful, but will take more learning.
It's true. Now, this system is, I think, a little bit more familiar to people that maybe did not grow up with an iPad. But I agree with you. If it has an Achilles heel, it's the fact that the touch is not really... intuitive.
No.
It almost requires a press and hold, which is hard if you are driving and trying your hands.
And you have to press quite hard, and it always leaves a fingerprint on the screen. Always, there's tons of fingerprints there.
Yeah.
And so the other thing is that they're different versions of high tech. This one's powerful in that it has a lot of screen area, many screens, much information packed right away, and it's powerful from that point of view. The Mercedes, I would say, is more powerful in its computing ability.
Yes.
Which one is more valuable to you? Like, seriously, are you looking for a home computer that drives around on wheels? Then maybe you want the Mercedes. Do you want a whole bunch of easily learned, adaptable comfort features in your car?
Yeah, I think it depends what you want from your car. Some people, like for example, my parents, all they want from an infotainment system is, can it change the radio? Can it change the climate control? Beyond that,
and for them, if they absolutely have to have, because that's where the industry's going,
correct,
a high-tech system, this one would be far better.
Exactly. Whereas the Mercedes is for someone, I think, that loves tech, wants that depth, likes the customizability.
Couldn't agree more.
Likes the idea that your speedometer could be purple or yellow or green or whatever you choose that day.
Yeah, and they want to know the age of the Prime Minister of the country that Justin Bieber was born in.
Exactly. And how much.
If that's important to you, you need to go to a Mercedes dealer.
I also think it's important we declare a winner.
Oh, poop. I'm very impressed with the Mercedes system. I'm impressed with its power. I'm very impressed with their systems right here.
Like the twiddle knobs.
The twiddle knobs. In fact, I'm going to try to get in every video that we do together. But I'm really impressed with that. But I would, for myself, probably end up with this one just because it's just so familiar. It's just easy. I
can't agree with that entirely. I think that the Mercedes system offers more customizability. It has a larger depth of features. I agree it is a little bit harder to use on the first hand. However, someone is going to buy that car or at least lease it. We are in a car for a week. Somebody's going to own that car for 2-3 years. Maybe that just means who it's for. The young kid wants the one that can change the interior lights to purple at voice command and tell you how much a black bear weighs. The old man wants something which is more intuitive and a little bit more...
I just want to look for the button I used to push and push it again. That's what I want.
There you go. For Driving.ca, I'm Clayton Seams.
And I'm David Booth.